The concept of a person or the title of a movie or even a series being categorized as perfect crime is enough to grab anyone's attention, isn't it? Even though the word crime, which is quite heinous, is combined with the remarkable word perfect. The irony in this statement is so interesting that everyone wants to hear this story. Or should I say facts, if the narrative is based on a true story. Allow me to elaborate this a bit. Are we truly interested in the crime itself, or are we more fascinated by the criminal psychology and how they outwitted the entire investigation organization? Even you might find yourself captivated. You come across these stories through documentaries, TV series, or movies even. The likelihood of you coming across a perfect crime or the one that shakes the entire world and makes you think is very rare. Being practical, everyone enjoys story about crime, maybe even admire the criminal for their perfect plan, but let's be clear. Nobody, and I repeat, nobody wants to be a part of that perfect plan in any way whatsoever. However, is there a chance that we are secretly rooting for the criminal to turn the investigation around and emerge victorious? The answer is yes. There are indeed many instances in movies or TV series where we find ourselves cheering for the criminal. A prime example of that would be Drishyam franchise, where the father goes to great lengths to shield his family from punishment despite breaking the law. We find ourselves wishing for his success. And I know some of you might be typing in the comments right now defending his actions, arguing that the crime he's hiding or committing in the process is justified. After all, the son of the commissioner did wrong, right? And his accidental death unraveled as a simple story of a father protecting his family. We actually can empathize with that and connect to it. Well, guess what? You are absolutely right. I mean, I can understand that sentiment, and I too was rooting for Vijay at the end of that movie to come out on top. But what about the movie Special 26? The way a fake CBI team is assembled to carry out actual raids on corrupt individuals, only to distribute the seized money among themselves rather than returning it to government. That is a significant crime. And don't tell me that you weren't rooting for the fake CBI to win in the climax. And here is an interesting fact. It was based on a true story. Now, we encounter a different kind of a crime. It's not like the one we discussed earlier, but we still find ourselves cheering for the main character to triumph. How do we justify this? Well, according to me, even though they formed a fake CBI, their targets were actually corrupt politicians. The intentions of the main character portrayed by Akshay Kumar were noble. We are shown how he yearned to join the CBI but couldn't in the first place, so he created his own fake version of it. Additionally, the dedication and discipline with which he approaches this job resonates with us, just like the characters from the movie Equalizer. Each member of his fake CBI is ordinary and natural. However, we must not overlook a crucial detail and the main topic of this video. Both of these crimes came close to being perfect crimes. At the end, we see Manoj Bajpayee's character receiving a phone call indicating that the investigation is still ongoing. Reports suggest that a third installment of Drishyam might actually happen, which implies that the crimes were not executed perfectly and could still be uncovered. But the question still persists. Why did we support the crime in Special 26? In my opinion, and from the discussion so far and from the facts and figures, both of these crimes can somewhat be considered righteous. There is a sense of connection that allows us to understand and relate to why these crimes could be seen as somewhat justifiable. In simple terms, the criminals behind them aren't entirely bad, and their intentions behind those crimes aren't entirely evil. Now, let's delve into a different world of criminals, the kind I refer to as movie criminals. This term doesn't pertain to an actor ruining a movie with cringeworthy acting. Instead, it's about crimes generated or inspired by movies or TV series. Imagine entering a theater as an audience member and emerging as a criminal. Some might find this statement amusing, But consider this. There are instances when you leave a theater and find yourself briefly or even momentarily behaving like the protagonist. Yet, there might have been someone right beside you that didn't act like the protagonist at all, but actually became one. And it is a chilling thought, I know. In an interview, Manoj Bajpayee talks about that he just wanna act. And it really depends on the person, upbringing, and the thought process of what he adopts from a movie. This perspective makes sense coming from an actor. For them, the character takes precedence over the movie's plot. But that's not a problem. Even if a movie isn't great, an actor's craft can still improve, which becomes evident in their subsequent work. Consider this. If no actor wanted to play toxic characters, criminals, or psychopaths in movies, many remarkable creations would never have seen the light of the day. However, there is another side of this coin, a really dark one. Hear me out. What if someone sitting in a theater doesn't merely love the character but wants to become one? Everything aligns for them. They have the right upbringing, thought process, and a profound love for movies that fuels their desire to play such roles or even become famous. Like actors. A prime example of this is a documentary named Don't Fuck With Cats on Netflix. It tells the story of a young boy named Luca Magnotta who aspired to become an actor or a model only to turn into a killer. But you may ask, what makes this story so intriguing? There are so many stories like this revolving on the internet every day. But before delving further into this, here is the start. The story of this boy begins with social media. It all starts with a YouTube video circulating on the internet showing a faceless boy wrapping a cat in a vacuum-sealed plastic bag and killing it. This video piques the interest of internet enthusiasts who start investigating. But this video was the beginning of a series of crimes. In the next video, the boy drowns a cat in a bathtub. Then another video pops up of this boy feeding a cat to a python. And then the situation escalates further. It gets serious when he brutally murders a man in a video. Each part of this man's body is dismembered. All of this is happening while the loud music plays in the background. And if you think this is just a regular murder, well, this is a beginning of a mind-numbing story. The boy sends one of the body parts to government office itself. And this is happening when all the evidence is pointing to Luca Magnotta, the murderer. People know him, but he wants the attention. The documentary sheds light on another aspect of the story. This aspect was Magnotta's point of view.
So I called him up. I asked him about the video. He said I was forced to do it. He said, Manny.
According to Magnotta, he was being abused and caused by another man who forced him into committing these killings. So what do you think so far? Is Magnotta the victim or the criminal? Months before the first murder, Magnotta reached out to a lawyer stating that he was being abused and harassed. And now skipping to the end, when he gets caught, the documentary skillfully introduces another thought to your mind by addressing his body language, or how he sits in a confinement cell with his legs crossed. He was feebly requesting a cigarette from the investigating officer and was wearing an innocent expression on his young face. How could this fragile-looking simple guy commit such heinous crimes? I was asking this question to myself at this end. Maybe I missed something. Maybe there is another side to this story. Something was missing. There is a whole nother perspective to this story, but it's not quite what you are imagining right now. When speaking to Magnotta's mother, it is revealed that he loved movies and his favorite movie was, in fact, Basic Instinct. Now here's where the story takes an intriguing turn. The young boy Magnotta reenacts an entire scene from Basic Instinct, even while confined in his cell. The documentary cleverly showcases side-by-side footages of Magnotta in his cell and the corresponding scene from the movie Basic Instinct. Additionally, the name that Magnotta gave to the lawyer, the man who was abusing him, was a name that was taken from the movie itself.
Sharon Stone's character has an abusive ex-boyfriend, and his name is
Catherine Trammell. Formally engaged to Manuel Vasquez.
Cheers. My friends call me Catherine.
What Manny Vasquez used to call you.
Whoa. Manny Vasquez?
Manny Vasquez. Manny Vasquez.
Manny Vasquez? Manny Vasquez?
Manny Vasquez.
Man.
Even the background music playing in Magnotta's videos was same as the American Psycho bar music. The fact that he killed a man and didn't hide his face from the CCTV cameras and even stopped by a mirror after the act to adjust his hairs indicates that he was fully aware that he could be caught and seemingly wanted to show his face. The meticulous planning of his own harassment from a hypothetical third person that doesn't even exist years before actually committing the crime suggests that he constructed his own psycho movie. His ultimate goal was to become famous. And this example is not an isolated incident. According to Watch Mojo, a man named Michael Hernandez brutally killed his classmate with cold-blooded intent, revealing that he aspired to become a serial killer just like Patrick Bateman. And he also attempted to plead not guilty by the reasons of insanity, but the jury rejected his plea and he died in prison at the age of 31. And I wish to God that he also got fucked in the ass before he died. There are numerous examples similar to this if you browse through the Watch Mojo website. For instance, after Breaking Bad, blue meth actually surfaced in the market. Following the movie Fight Club, various fight clubs emerged in different cities. The tension escalated when a boy named Luke planted mailbox bombs. He was attempting to create a map-like face from his chosen locations. A teenager named Kyle attempted to blow up a Manhattan Starbucks after initiating his own fight club. Yet after all these contemplations, question still arises. If there are instances of such real-life killings inspired by a movie, should movies always carry a moral lesson? Should the entire dark genre be halted? The dilemma is that while showing bad characters in a glorified or cool manner might be appealing, it could lead people to find such behavior captivating. But then consider the rush you felt when you saw Rolex on screen in a movie like Vikram. Would that scene have been equally impactful if it was shown in a less commercial manner? Ultimately, it's about how movies entertain us, because there might be a character next to you that is contemplating to start a syndicate similar to Rolex. At the same time, another individual sitting next to you might have experienced some kind of abuse in their past life and find certain scenes unsettling. We often overlook our capacity to make our own decisions, and this might sound simplistic, but think about it for once. You'll realize how much your choices are influenced by your surroundings. Just because many people find something funny, you don't have to share that sentiment. You have your own brain to think about it, and you could just say no, I don't find it funny. Key difference between you and the criminal next to you is the decision you both make. They decide to embrace a certain character's traits and they'll undoubtedly face consequences just like the character in the movie did. Consider the movie Kabir Singh. It was a major hit, yet not everyone liked it. I personally enjoyed the movie, but that also doesn't mean that I can defend every single scene in that movie and rationalize Kabir Singh's actions. It is entirely acceptable if you don't like the movie at all. However, if you didn't like the movie at all, then targeting the movie in a debate or shoving your thoughts down someone else's throat forcibly is stupid. If you have valid arguments, rely on them, and if someone still disagrees with you, move on, because not everyone thinks like you do. Someone's decision to emulate Kabir Singh's behavior after watching the movie is totally their own. If not Kabir Singh, they would have picked some other character from some other movie in the future. The movie's portrayal is often influenced by commercial considerations, which you all must understand. A person finding killing to be captivating in a psycho movie is also a result of their individual decision. Movies and series cannot be universally perfect, much like the crimes we discussed earlier in the video. Each movie have its own audience and its own critics. But that doesn't mean that if you find something disagreeable, you should just dismiss it without proper argumentation, just like Manoj and Omrao defending Adipurush. In conclusion, it's important to communicate your opinions thoughtfully and in a constructive manner. It doesn't matter if it's your reaction to a movie or a real life situation. Your ability to make informed choices shapes your perspective and also influences your actions in the same way. Bye.